guys, welcome to
Hey
the
guys.
podcast.
Welcome to the Team Podcast. I'm Brandon McDevitt.
I'm Tiffany Pfeiffer.
And I'm Savannah Gouch. Today, let's fix the mic. We're going to be talking about the scale of the universe. That's cool. It's fun stuff.
Huge.
All right, Savannah, I know you were very passionate about this topic. So you want to start us off?
Sure. All right. So I like researching things and like finding things out that I don't know, like that are kind of crazy. So like the scale of the universe is like freaking insane because like it's hard for us to understand like the size of our own Earth, let alone the entire galaxy, and then other galaxies in the ever expanding universe. So so let do you want me to like drop some facts real quick? Like
Drop some facts. Good to us.
all right, so like when comparing the Earth just to the sun, 109 Earths for every sun. Like our sun, you know, like if we compared it to that. So 109 of us can fit inside the sun.
That's huge.
Yeah. And so the distance between us and the sun is kind of crazy. It's so basically you could line up 10,000 Earths to get to the sun. So so the nearest star is 4.2 light years away. That's 200,000 times 10,000 of our Earths, all lined up in a straight line. That's how far away it is. You know, like that's crazy. Then we have the Milky Way, which is our galaxy. And so that's like roughly 100,000 light years. So you plug that in, and that is 25 times 200,000 times 10,000 Earths lined up. You know, it's crazy.
Huge.
And like, so,
Mind-blowing.
yeah, I know, right? And so like just the observable universe is 93 billion light years across.
So if you like saw a picture of like our entire universe, like how in the history we humans thought we were the center of the universe, everything revolved around us pretty much, and to find that we're just like to the side, off somewhere to the side, and like we're the one orbiting around everything else is kind of like humbling to think.
Yeah. I just think it's like mind-blowing to like think of like how small we are, you know? Like
Yeah, definitely.
on our planet, like we have our life form and stuff, and like we're able to live here. So like my thing is, think of how many other life forms have to be out there that think that they're the only ones too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just because we're all so far apart, which makes sense.
Or what if the other life forms know we're here but choose to stay away?
I don't blame them.
I don't blame them, yeah.
I don't blame them.
I don't blame them because I probably feel the same way. Like, think of it. If there's some other intelligence that is about as smart as you, what if they want to take over you? You'd want to stay away.
You can't stay allies forever, you know?
All right, hold on. This brings up a good question. I love
You're
this
not
question.
even allies because you don't know the others there.
That's true. So, in history has shown that a more advanced civilization will take over a less civilized civilization.
Less intelligent.
Yeah, what I'm saying, like in history, like far back in history. So, you know, Persians just conquer everything. Do we send out signals saying, hey, we're here, and then take that risk of being the less intelligent life form and being dominated? Or do we say, you know, it's us or nothing and just there for nothing, and just send information and be like, oh, we're the smarter ones now? What do you guys think of that?
I think, I'm going to jump in here. Okay, I think that when you think about it, like, you know how like the classic two cow. Huh? Shoes, yeah. Okay.
Family.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that like when if there's another person out there and you know about them, you know that classic scene, it's like the two cowboys and they're like, there's not enough room in this town for both of us. Well, that's not the
Right.
case here. There is plenty of room. It's an ever expanding universe. So why even,
Right.
you know, why even take the risk?
We could be
Why don't
slaves.
why don't we have I feel like if we're smart, we'll just be the type of people who say you do you, we'll do us, and if we need help, we can help each other. But even then, that's it. I don't want to say they're. I'd be one of those people to be too scared to go and find the other supposed people. Say there is. You don't know. You never know. It's never expanding universe.
Yeah, I just
But
think it's too much of an if, you know?
yeah.
You don't know
Yeah.
how they feel. I feel like
It's
you
too
would
much of an
have
if in general of another universe. Because even us, we were so close to not happening. Like, look at our conditions of the earth. It's like a very small percentage that the conditions happen again. Not saying there isn't a case of the conditions happening again, but like our conditions were so perfect to even have life on earth for it to happen again. Not saying it couldn't, but
yeah.
it's a very, very, very small percentage.
Raina, what do you think? Are you if there was another species or something out there?
It's so abstract of a question because we don't even know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I say be quiet right now, and I know that's against a lot of exploration ideas. You know what I mean? Just to be quiet. But if we're just gonna take a chance of being completely, dominated, that's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Right? Um, I say be quiet. I know it sounds harsh, but I think we just gotta wait until we're really good. You know what I mean? Until we can actually hop from planet to planet. You know what I mean? That's something I'll consider then.
I think it's
Until we
like
can travel at light speed, we probably shouldn't be
Mm.
saying anything
yeah.
to
Yeah,
other.
But also like we know more about space, so we know about the ocean, and I feel like we should figure out our own planet first before we try and
Oh
figure
yeah,
out
most
another
definitely.
species on another planet and everything like that.
Yeah, like if we can't understand our own planet, how are we supposed to understand their planet?
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. I think we need to get to a stable point. Like we have a lot of problems, you know, and we need to like figure those out
yeah.
before we can like meet anybody else and stuff.
Plus,
Oh
we
yeah.
can't get along with our own kind. How are we expecting to get along with someone else if we can't get along with our own?
Honestly.
Um,
It's whack, man.
yeah. What do you think there's a year, right? What year do you think we would be able to do this? 3,000, 4,000 tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
What
man,
year
is a dream. Oh,
what year do you think we would be able to
Well,
contact alien?
looking at
Mm,
how quickly we're advancing in technology, like we're doing things in a year that took a decade back 100 years ago. We
mm,
create new technologies, and we can create many new technologies in a year than they could in a decade or even 2 decades if you go back 100
mm,
years ago for us. So I think it's a more possible possibility than it was 100 years ago. Like you sit here, look. I looked at like all the inventions that came out over this past decade, from 2010 to 2020, and you take 1900 the 1910s to 1920s. Yes, a lot of things were invented throughout then, but not compared to the way it was throughout 2010 to 2020.
mm.
So I think it'll be sooner, but it depends on how, if our invention goes in a loop and we go downhill or we just keep going up.
Okay.
I think it depends if we destroy the Earth first.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Einstein thing. Are we going to just reach to a peak and then we're going to go downfall fast, or are we just going to keep going up?
Okay.
Because World War III,
we're going to destroy the Earth?
If there is, his quote where he says, if there's a World War III, World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones because life will have to restart, start from scratch again.
Right. Savannah, I heard you say we're going to ruin the Earth. Let me hear that.
So, here's the thing. We can't really, like, we can ruin the Earth, right? But, like, the Earth is never going to go away unless, like, some external source nukes the entire planet. But the Earth is never going to go away. It's really just our rate, like, our species, like, humans can end. And eventually, like, that whole process of, like, plants developing and stuff like that will happen again, and and it'll be a whole nother species thing. So I don't think we can really destroy it, but we can definitely ruin it, and I think that's what we're gonna do. Because we're not really, I mean, as much as, like, we're trying to fix things, and as much as, like, we're using less plastic and we're, like, doing all these little different things, like reusable rocket engines, you know, like, there are steps that, like, people are taking, and I'm really glad that some people understand that, but our population is too big to get everyone to understand. This is kind of a little slightly off topic, but you know, I think that we like space so much because we like it as a backup plan. So if this all goes to waste, like, if everything on this planet, like, just becomes terrible and we isolate it and we abandon the planet and go to Mars, like that to me is really exciting, to go somewhere else, like another planet, like that, you know, like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But I think that we should, like I said earlier, I think we should really figure out our own planet first before we move on to destroying another one. Or maybe find one that's stable and can't be shattered by some human, you know?
And I know there's something, I've seen this quote where it says, we can't live without the Earth, but the Earth can most definitely live out without us.
100%, yeah.
What do you think will be the downfall of the human race if we did fall? Or when, whatever comes first. What do you think will be, you know, a nuclear fallout, disease, meteor? That would suck. Because we could see it coming. You know what I mean? That'd be really horrible. Oh, geez, here it comes. So what do you think will be the downfall if there was?
I think humans will be the downfall.
But, like,
no, like, what do you think will so you think humans are just going to cause their own downfall of
we're going to cause I know we're going to cause our own downfall of some sort. Rather we nuke the planet, which if we nuke the planet, we'll probably be ending in fire, which
that sucks too.
But in a way, if we end up nuking ourselves to death, it kind of makes sense with some of these religions, you know? They all claim we're going to end in fire.
I didn't think of that. Okay.
All right, Savannah, what do you think is going to be the end of human race?
Such a hard question.
It is hard.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's so many things. But I think, bombing each other is a huge possibility. Because, like, here,
we have these bombs sitting here not being used.
Oh no, the nuclear bombs just flying around. Let's shove it in Russia's face real quick, you know?
Yeah, let's just kabooey.
So if you look at history, superpowers have a downfall. They all do. They all have a downfall.
They take advantage of their power.
Well, I think that right now America is a superpower. And
yes, definitely.
Yeah, well, 100%. We're not the only one, though. And I think we're going to want to be the only one. and then we're gonna have a war, and then everything will be okay, and then we'll have the little guys who aren't superpowers anymore wanting to be a superpower again. So I just think that will eventually, now that we have bombs and we have major weapons to injure people with freely in the click of a freaking button, and a suicide bomber. That's all you need, you know? And I think it's unfortunate, but like I feel like we're eventually just gonna get to the point where it's never gonna be enough. Like we're never gonna be able to create a bomb that'll end everything fast enough, that'll do this fast enough, or won't be able to kill people fast enough, or we can't get our point across fast enough. And I think that we're gonna end in war.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go deal with the little kid who's crying in the background real quick.
All right, you do that.
Don't stop.
Brandon, thoughts?
That's really good. I do think war is definitely on the top tier of end of humanity. But let me ask you this. Do you think we are going to learn from the previous superpowers on how not to fall like them? Or do you think we're just gonna,
If
follow the
I
same
was the
fate no matter
president, and
what?
if I was in office, and if I was one of the president's supervisors, I would constantly remind him of the past. I would constantly be like, well, you don't want to do that. You want to, it doesn't matter how much of a people person you are. History is going to affect what happens. And you can either learn from it and turn away from it, or you can follow it. And I feel like there are people that say that, and I don't think anyone wants to listen because they're like, forget about the past, man. Stop, and stuff like that. I was watching Golden Girls earlier. I know it's an old show, but it's super cute. And the oldest one, I forgot what her name is, Dorothy's mom, was talking about how she lived through 2 wars and how it was like those were the worst times. Like that's terrible, and like why we should never go through another war because it's just the worst. But I think people have to understand that war equals power and power equals money. And in America, we bomb other people and then we buy cars from them and build their economies back up so we can destroy them again. And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon until a superpower, the only other superpower, or the little guys, the not superpowers, are going to finally say something and do something about it. And Germany's not going to be doing anything, I can tell you that.
Okay. This is a good one. So with superpowers being on Earth already, do you think there will be superpowers on Mars? And what would that be? What would that look like?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think it's whoever gets there first. Not whoever gets there first, but whoever colonizes it first and kind of puts down the like ground laws and stuff like that, like puts down the first homes and stationaries and stuff like that. Like I think whoever does that, superpower right away off the bat. I think the superpowers on Earth are going to be the superpowers there because they have the most money and they're going to be the people who can get there first. What do you think?
I think it's just going to become another everything that we did in the past is going to become that, but in space on Mars. It's sad, but it's just the human instinct to claim and have a bad feeling that we're not going to be very civil on that. I don't know why, but I think we tried to be civil before. We realized it doesn't work out too well.
I think that everybody knows like whoever gets there first, whoever colonizes it is gonna.
Tiffany, we were talking about superpowers. If they got if superpowers got to Mars, what would that look like? Because we already have it on Earth. So what do you think that would look like?
Well, looking at history, which lucky for all of us, I think we've all done world history yet. And we've all seen where the superpower comes up, it gets big, And the superpower does one of two things. Either they try to expand even more, or they decide to isolate themselves.
I hate it when freaking China and Japan continue to isolate themselves, and I'm like, you idiot! You already did this once. Why are you doing it
All
again?
right.
And
And
now we're doing
my
it.
thing is, America is slowly isolating. If you're looking at what we're doing that too. We're not expanding. We're isolating ourselves, whether people notice it or not. Because one, you sit here, we're taking troops away from areas. So we're taking
okay. I wasn't, when I said we were isolating, I didn't mean like because of Corona we are, but
like, not that saying having troops on all other places is a good thing, but it's like it's a sign of us slowly isolating, if you look at it. Though I gotta say, look at China here trying to start isolating. They are doing things with their technology, which clearly when they isolate, they're still improving greatly in their technology. But now, China here is very isolated, and they let out this virus escapes the chemistry tables and gets all over becomes a pandemic.
we can't really pinpoint where it's
Yeah.
coming from exactly, but I have heard about what you're saying. But I think that I'm saying
we need to hear something from them, because that's the assumption. So them isolating themselves even more isn't helping the assumptions.
All right.
Pretty much is mainly my point. Whether it came from there or not, them isolating isn't helping the situation. Them disappearing out of nowhere and not coming back isn't going to help anything.
I think that when Japan and China isolated themselves before, because that's what they do, they have isolated themselves before. They didn't tell us about the virus until it got here, until it became a bigger issue. And that's because they isolate. And they've done that in the past, and it hasn't worked out, and they're doing it again. China's government will not tell us anything. Japan's government won't. We've heard about Hong Kong. They got to be by themselves and have the internet freely and got to read whatever books they want, and that was great. And that's just how controlling China's government is, because they don't want people to know what's actually happening. They're isolating. And when I say America's doing that, I mean that we're pulling back. We're becoming way more self-sufficient than we ever were, and we're paying people off. We're paying people off. Like the president had meetings a couple months ago with all these different leaders from all these different countries, and he's kind of like, okay, we're gonna give you this money because we owed you, and we're done. Don't talk to us again. You don't owe me anything. I don't owe you anything. We're done. And that was a conversation, like we're pushing back.
Like, as a businessman, that is very helpful. And I gotta say, as a businessman, we looking at all the statistics and stuff, and that's what he does best. He's not good at appeasing people. He's good at figuring out how to fix things, and that's my opinion. Yeah, he doesn't have a filter. He doesn't know how to appease people like a lot of all the other presidents have been. But at least he's trying to figure out how to fix our debt, and that's what we've been needing. And once he's gone, our debt's not going to be completely fixed. But at least he took a step to fix that part. And to think about that, at least we got something done. We got something done that the other presidents haven't been able to do. Yes, he's a complete jerk. He doesn't know how to talk. He doesn't know how to appease people.
Little stupid, killing leaders of places. That's great for business. Let me tell you, it's phenomenal. It's great for America.
Looking at the things that, I'm sorry, to me, I've gotten to the point where it's like, no matter who we have for a president, let's just support him in a way, because if we're not supporting him, he might backlash even more.
Okay.
At this point,
that brings up the question: what do you guys think the government will be if we got on Mars? Or so what do you think? We've seen a lot of this presidents. We have different leaders, dictators, monarchs. what do you think as we start leaping into new territories, what that would look like government-wise?
Government's always going to be corrupt. That's just that. There's always going to be some sort of form of corruption in a government. It's just, how do we deal with that?
Our government was set up in a way to empower itself, to bring it money, power, and to please the people without having to hear them. And I think that's the way it's going to be in Mars. I wish that wasn't how it was, and I wish there was something that we could do about it. But I just don't think that people are going to change. Going to Mars is the change, So like they're not going to change anything else. We're basically moving America to Mars. Like that's the way I take it. We're just everything that we have here, cutting it in half, moving it over there. Slowly, but
Okay.
yeah. What do you think, Brandon?
So we know how the U.S. started. We all went to the New World. Do you think that I think that this may be a new era
I didn't
in
think of
history
that.
because we rioted against our homeland because they didn't have they needed ships, you know what I mean? So it's basically for
We didn't
me
have the
like
rights
an
that we
allegory.
wanted at our
Right,
original country, so we went to the New World and made new rights. And in a
right.
way, it kind of makes me also think, like, you see all these people trying to take away amendments, but in a way, I don't think taking away any adding or taking away to the amendments is a good idea, because one, it's just like the whole thing with that we have problems with racism and stuff. Trying to hide the fact that something happened isn't going to fix anything.
Mm-hmm.
So taking away the amendments isn't going to fix anything either.
Okay.
So I think that if we're going to sit here and create another country, we're probably going to do it on Mars, and we're going to make rules and regulations to fix what we didn't fix on Earth.
I hope that whoever, or the peoples, the founding fathers of the Mars, colonies, yeah, I hope that they're good people, and I hope that they're people that understand and know what happened. Like when America got started and the backlash that we had, and we had to take steps to learn how to please everyone and how to do things. And I think that you know what? That's like, I feel like this is really good for us, because when you think about it, like, things have gotten really complicated with technology, with money, with the government, with presidents, and there's so many things. Like, when you go walking on a street, you never know, like, what you say might affect someone, like how, like, if you say you don't like Trump, that Trump lover is going to beat the crap out of you. And things have gotten, like, so complicated where we have to consider everyone's emotions and everything like that. So I feel like going to Mars, starting something new, is going to be great. Like, it's going to be, if we have the right person, if you have the right person to start it, or right people to start it, and you don't let previous things happen to you, but you do let them, you use them to learn,
I think I got it. So pretty much the way we're going to Mars would be, we're no longer trying to fix the canvas. Say let's envision Earth and like all of our countries and stuff like as a painting. Right now we're still adding more colors, more details to this painting, but if we were to move to Mars, we're starting with a new canvas. We can start from scratch again and start a new picture.
That's a really good analogy. Yeah. I'm gonna warn you guys, 7 minutes just hit.
I'm trying to somehow get this back. Let's see.
Overall final thoughts.
Yeah, Mars Part 2 and the scale of the universe. You know what's so crazy is that we can't actually measure it. We can't like, we can say the observable universe is 93 billion light years, but that is continuously getting updated because
give or take 10 billion.
yeah,
Give or take.
yeah, honestly, because we can't really measure it, because that's just what we can see. So like, it's kind of, and it's always expanding, always. Like right now, it's like,
Still going.
still going. Yeah.
I was watching this. When you watch the Science Channel at night, it gets weird, especially because you're half conscious. So it was due to the rapid expansion of the universe, it'll slow down and start rapidly closing. Do you think that's true? Remember, this is a theory, so we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on.
I think I think what's weird is that we can't, if we got to the edge of the universe, we could never go past it because it's ever expanding, and unless we made a thing that fast, and that could go that far. So not gonna happen for the next million years.
Which means it's gonna be even bigger and take even longer.
Actually, it depends on how soon Brandon gets into NASA, but
yeah. We'll see.
Brandon, we're depending on you.
Yeah.
We'll get there. I'll promise you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's for it to close in on itself. I think it'll happen not in our lifetime, in the next million years.
Do you think
that makes me also think my mom's asked me a question. So as a Christian, the biggest question is, so there's this rapture that's going to happen. When is it going to happen? And it kind of, and to me, that's kind of on the same it's kind of along the same lines, because supposedly the rapture is going to be before the destruction of the universe, or at least of Earth. So it's kind of along the same lines. When is everything going to end is the question that's been out for millions of years. Like, even if you have a religion or not, you're always asking and always wondering, when is the end going to come? When is everything going to fall apart and no longer be?
But I don't think what I've always been told is you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that happening in your lifetime.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But my thing is, like, nobody knows when it's going to come. It could be tomorrow. It could be in an hour. It could.
My thing is, we've been told that for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah, that is true. But I feel like people are saying, like, oh, the odds of being in your lifetime is, like, slim to none, which, mad respect, like, yeah, you're right, but nobody knows. All right, we got 3 minutes left. Do you want to close it out?
3 minutes. Yeah, let's close it out. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, because we do it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Or at least we try to.
At least try, yes.
Yeah.
We're humans.
Yeah. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.